Field to field across America with SFP. Outside of Broken Bow, Nebraska, on a warm summer day, we met Mike Miller not far from one of his center pivots, where he shared with me how he tested AVAIL from SFP to see how it would protect his phosphorus fertilizer.
With the price of fertilizer, you know, I hate to throw something out there that's not going to be usable, okay? So I tried the AVAIL, and on about 30 acres, it was about 30 acres through the worst part of a pivot, and it was easily a 15 to 20% increase on that particular section. Come harvest time, the color of the corn, you could tell right where the AVAIL was and right where it wasn't. You could go down to the row of where you got it and where you didn't, and where that tank started to run out.
Join us again next week as we continue to share with you what growers like Mike Miller have to say. Field to field across America with SFP. Field to field across America with SFP. Nebraska grower Mike Miller told us as we visited he's used AVAIL on his corn more than 1 year, and he liked the standability he saw.
The following year, after my first little run with it, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a whole pivot to it. That was the year we had an October snowstorm. It started snowing. There was about one picking day in the month of October, and there was only about 1 week of picking in the month of November. And the one pivot that had the AVAIL versus pivots that didn't have the AVAIL in it was standability. It was a 15 to 20% yield increase on the pivot that had the AVAIL versus what did not have the AVAIL. And the ease of picking and the speed at which you could pick, because the corn wasn't all laying down.
Join us next week, field to field across America with SFP. Field to field across America with SFP. Farmer Mike Miller at Broken Bow, Nebraska wears 2 hats. And because of that, when he examines a new product for his fields the way he did with AVAIL from SFP, he looks at it with a very critical eye.
I really look for science behind ideas. Being a science teacher, I'm really looking for the science of things and data that supports your claims. So I tried it 1 year, and of course I picked the worst acres, you know, to try it on, and plants were always taller. They were always taller right there. The greenness of it, it was just a deeper green, a better color. Everything about it that particular year was beneficial. I don't plant an acre of corn without AVAIL now. Every acre, whether it's dry land or irrigated, gets AVAIL in its starter.
Join us again next week, field to field across America with SFP. Field to field across America with SFP. We thoroughly enjoy being in the field with growers across our great nation who are using AVAIL from SFP and have stories to share, the way Mike Miller did at Broken Bow, Nebraska.
I picked with a 6-row head, and we were picking wet corn at the time to take out to Adams Landing cattle. And I had been making it all the way through with the combine and 6-row head before needing a grain cart. And the minute I got into the AVAIL, I got about 2/3 of the way across and thought I had a piece of corn stuck in my buzzer, because it was beeping already, and it's overflowing and it's sprinkling all over the place. So, you know, that's proof that AVAIL works. It makes me money. AVAIL makes me money, and AVAIL keeps me in business.
You bet, Mike. Join us here again next week as we share another on-farm visit. We'll go right to the field in Iowa as we take you field to field across America with SFP.